Oh, my boy.
Legend.
Well, I'm trying to turn this around.
Uh,
Don't worry about Amalia speaking Arabic. What's up,
just
boy?
need to get this early. Oh, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hi, boy. So you saying that this is your forte, boy?
Beto, what's up with this title? Patriarchy based on patriarchy. You know what I mean?
What
Yeah. You know
do
what
you
I
want it
mean?
to be?
Yeah.
Hey?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at as well, boy.
No, really, no. I'm unfamiliar with the term. You know what I mean?
It was the female version of the patriarchy.
What is the female version of patriarchy?
Come closer, man. I can't hear. We can't hear you properly.
What is the female version of patriarchy?
We'll
Is
explain it.
there a
We'll talk
female
about it
version?
now. We'll talk about it now. What's up, boy? Okay,
Nah,
so
man.
yeah, tell me a bit about. Okay, just come close. I want to make sure your mic, like, I can actually hear you properly.
You can't hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Alright. Okay, so what do you actually think about the patriarchy, boy?
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
Okay.
And
How?
and for me, it just sucks that we don't want to see how this double-edged sword as men it affects us as well.
Hey.
Because I'm saying patriarchy now, it
Mhm.
comes with things like chivalry. You need to understand that. It comes
Mhm.
with it comes with so many stresses as a man that you're not allowed to even speak on. You,
Mhm.
you know, in the daikali, you can't speak on these things. So for me, it's a double-edged sword that you put yourself in, and then you watch other people enjoy life, and then you get angry by yourself, and then I think we just need to do more to see it, man, as people. That this thing I could for anyone.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
sustainable. It's not a system that can be sustainable for anyone to upkeep. But in order for us to let it go, the only thing I see is that we both need to be able to let go of our privileges. And we need to first acknowledge our privileges that we have from patriarchy. Whether you're a man or a woman, you know that you're getting certain privileges from it. So
So
you need to be
where
able
where do
to
you think,
say, yeah,
where do you think the term even comes from?
patriarchy.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that.
Yeah.
I
Eh?
can't tell you that.
Yeah. There's no, like,
Without
even
understanding what it means now.
yeah. I
Insusa
think
sizuyazi.
okay.
Insusa sizuyazi kwangoku.
Yeah.
But now just understanding where we are.
Okay. So the way I understand it, the patriarchy is almost like it's something that means basically men that are oppressing or are in an oppressive state towards women, right?
I don't think that's how it was designed. I don't think oppression was how the system had developed. For me,
Okay.
how I see patriarchy, it comes from like a deep place where people like Dala from long on, hunter gatherers.
Mm-hmm.
Probably somewhere we realized our strengths and our weaknesses as men and women. And the one was like, listen, I'm faulty. You guys can't keep up with me hunting. Stay there, gather food and stuff. You make everything for us, and then we'll bring the meat. And from there, it developed, and where it got fucked up, and where the oppression started, is when now you see that I have certain advantages now when I'm bringing home the bacon. Maybe now this speaks more value. than maybe picking berries and whatnot. So then that leads to men making more decisions where, okay, maybe we made a decision there. You now need to stay at home. Now, a decision where education came in. Okay, you know what? You guys are not going to go to school. You're not smart enough for school. And from there, and then it just leaped on further and further. That's how I see in social media. Corrupted, yeah, exactly. Power just corrupted it all. That's what I was really trying to get to. Yeah, not the oppression. Like, I don't think patriarchy is like an oppressive. It's just a system. That's how I see it. It's a system that was then exploited, and then there was this oppression of women from it.
So this oppression of women, is it from men?
It's, yeah, you're the one with the power, and power corrupts.
Okay, but why is it always like based on power though?
What else could it be based on?
It could be based on different things. So if, for instance, again, if you're a man and you're making, say, more money than a woman, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna have the power at home.
Mm-hmm.
But the woman, for instance, can still handle the finances and make all the decisions.
Yeah.
So but again, it's almost okay.
No, continue.
Oh,
I'll address that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like a thought process of, okay, if you have more of something or more of or more of something because you're a man, you are then in power, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas again, sometimes having more of something doesn't necessarily mean you have more power. You know, if you have more knowledge than someone, for example, doesn't necessarily mean you have more power. You know what I mean? If you're doing a lot in terms of there's a lot of time that you dedicate to other things, doesn't mean you have more power. It just means that you're doing a lot of things. So if you're a man, for instance, and you're working more hours, it doesn't mean that you are now in power. You know, you might find that, okay, well, actually, I feel like working less hours. Maybe someone that works less hours has more power. So why is it always a power struggle that we see it as? You know, so again, it's like, again, with this whole patriarchy thing, what I don't really understand, it's like a victim type of mentality where it's like, if I'm not benefiting, then I'm going to call whatever you're doing wrong. Right? And it's a thought process of, if I'm the one if I see it as the sense that I'm the one that's not getting what I need to get, then I'm going to say that, oh, it's because you took something from me. Not that I'm the one that's in the wrong, but I'm going to say that you took something from me. You know? You understand what I'm saying? So,
no, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. But that's what I was alluding to earlier when I was talking about addressing our privileges and both of us being accountable and knowing where we're benefiting from me being a man and you being a woman and our privileges that we get.
Yeah.
I forgot my earlier. I forgot my point from earlier on when you were speaking.
Yeah. So okay, well, you can think about it, but yeah. So I think the way that kind of the way that I hear it from some women, because I've had this conversation with a few other women as well, and you know, for them it's almost like how black people see white privilege, right? Mm-hmm. Where a black person will say that no person is privileged because of the systems that was put in to then put white people in privilege and so on and so forth, right? And then it's like, okay, cool. That's kind of a similar trend or the similar thought process with this whole patriarchy thing, right? Where it's like, okay, well, but now when we think about it now, for example, right? Like me and you are able to have this life. Me and you have grown totally differently to every other person. Not just every other black person, but every other person, right? So then you look at yourself, I look at myself, we're completely different. You're privileged in some parts, I'm privileged in some parts. If you look at a white or a colored or non-black or Hispanic or Asian, they're privileged in their own way, not privileged in certain ways, you know? So then it's like, where did we get these terms of white privilege, non-privilege, all of these terms,
Okay.
And when you think about it, you're like, maybe someone actually came up with this and someone was benefiting from it. So therefore they had to create something like that.
I don't fully agree with you because that
Okay.
a system that it becomes a system that I say to you. And then it's just like racism and how racism separated us as black people. Black people had the least privileges. They had their own little things that they could do. Colored, they were treated as senior white. I mean, deputy whites, and then you had your white people and your colors and your Indians were just below your colors as well. So it was just a segregation where everything it's a system and it trickles down. It's the same. It's the exact same thing here with patriarchy. It's a system with women. So when you said earlier that you can have a conversation with your woman and she can understand you and she can understand like where she's benefiting in the relationship and how you benefiting and everything will be alright. That could work for you guys in that relationship. But opportunities outside the relationship, you're not given the same opportunities. You will have opportunities, sharp, but you won't get maybe as many opportunities as the other person. So same as a black person won't have as many opportunities as a white guy, and a colored won't have as many as a white, or Indian won't have as many as a colored. It's just the exact
Okay.
same. It's just the amount of opportunity that you're given within that system that is created. So women in this system that we live in with patriarchy, they have less opportunities than men. That's why you find still that women are paid less. It's getting better. It's that's getting recognized, but there's disparity in other places.
Okay. So, okay, coming back to I don't want to go too much into the color and race thing, but going back to the patriarchy and the kind of the gender thing, do you think that people are then paid differently because because there's a difference in gender?
Yes, and because of color. In South Africa,
Okay.
that's so prevalent.
Okay. So you're saying that then even if a black person gets an education, or a female or a white, a black person gets an education, whether they're female or male, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then what, are they oppressed or they are the oppressor?
They have a glass ceiling.
They have a what?
A glass ceiling. A man, your trajectory will be higher than a woman. Like a woman can get further than a man, but you have a certain ceiling that you can't reach if you're a woman. And maybe you will reach there, and then you might be one of a million that will go even higher
Okay,
because
so this comes back.
that's just the
Okay, so this
system.
comes back to something that's similar to what is this thing called? I forgot the name of it. Not identity politics, but it's something similar to that, where then you say that the white male is like the pinnacle,
Yeah,
right? And then after that is what, the white woman or the black man?
the white woman.
The white woman's next.
Mm.
And then after that is what, the
The next
Asian guy,
one.
Dennis.
It doesn't matter the specifics, but I see your point and yes.
But of course, I mean, the specifics should matter because then I mean, that's the way that then society sees you, isn't it? That's what you're saying. Is that then if you're a white person or if you're a black guy, if you're a black woman, you then have a certain ceiling as compared to this guy and this guy. So I'm saying then, what are the actual levels then?
In South Africa, I already explained them.
Yeah. So it's the white man, it's the white woman, and then after that is what?
It's colored Muslim man.
Then it's a colored Muslim man. Then after that, it's what? Colored Muslim woman. Then after that, it's the colored Muslim woman.
Yes.
Then after that,
and then after that, you'll have your blacks.
then you have your what?
Then you'll have your black people. Even though that's the population.
Okay, so that'll be what? Your black man and your black female, like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we don't have room for Asians. We don't have room for doesn't matter the age. Doesn't matter if you're disabled. Doesn't matter if you're in the high socioeconomic class. Doesn't matter if you're a low socioeconomic class. Doesn't matter what school you used to go to.
We generalizing. We're not getting that specific. We generalizing.
But that's, I mean, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. You can generalize, but then even with that generalization, when you pick things, you need to look at individuals, right? You can't say, for instance, if you're saying now, because this is where I think where the issues come from, is that if you're saying now that the black person, or it's white, and then it's female white, and then it's black, and then it's this, and then it's that, then it's like, well, then most people will, well, then most black people are in positions of power in parliament.
Yeah, because now we have things like BE and that have tried to correct them.
You have what?
With God's movement. We have BE. We have black people now in power. We're trying to change that. It's the same with the patriarchy thing. Things are trying to...
So then what makes you think that...
You're making it seem like a stagnant. Like, it's still, like... It's not stagnant. It's still fluctuating. We have black people in power, but where's most of our South Africa's money?
I don't know. Where is it? White people?
Yes.
Okay. It's debatable, but okay. So then most black people are in power, say in politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then what makes you think that then having them in power in politics is going to then
what percentage of black people are in power?
Okay, man, I can't hear you, like, at all.
What percentage of these black people are in power?
As compared to white people?
No, as compared to the black population. Because now I'm trying to talk to you about majority, and now you want to focus on the ones that have.
Okay. Yeah, so,
but
I mean...
about the majority that don't.
Okay, so look, so in South Africa, there's more black people in general.
Yes.
Right? So out of those more black people in general, you're basically then saying that we should represent, or black people should represent everything the way that this country is, or races should represent that.
No, I'm talking about it. I'm talking about it in not a holistic perspective. And you want straight into
Okay, say that again. Sorry, boy. I'm not hearing you properly.
I'm generalizing.
Yeah.
And you going deep into specifics. And that's where we now missing each other.
Okay. Okay. So you want us to both generalize and then we'll both go into specifics.
No, I'm saying, I want to know which way you want to go, rather. Because that's where the miscommunication is now. Because I'm speaking more of in a general thing. And then you want to go into direct specifics and analyze it directly. Is there maybe a reason why you want to go that route? Or
yeah, I mean, I guess the reason is to try to understand stuff. I mean, if we can look at it in a certain way and say, okay, this is the population, this is mostly men, this is mostly women, this is mostly Asian people, this is mostly white people, this is mostly this. But then what the arguments are is that what do we want is in terms of the patriarchy? Like, do you want Is the patriarchy something that actually
How it
exists?
affects you. We'll go back to how it affects you because we can't touch on every single person and every single instance where it happens.
Yeah. So the patriarchy.
That's what I'm thinking of.
So the
I'm
patriarchy
thinking of
affects.
it doesn't affect you in your life.
It does, I guess. It does. It affects me positively and negatively.
Exactly. So that's all my thing is. We speak on our ones, rather than going into specific other people's ones and things esingazikwazi uzithetha, esingakwazi understand. Don't be speaking about everyone.
Okay, so you
That's
want me
my
to speak
thing.
about my personal opinion about my
Yeah.
personal, oh, about my
Yeah,
personal.
that's what I'm saying. And things that we experience, our own experiences with patriarchy and how we see and how it's formed our views of it, rather.
Okay. So what? So you're saying then on.
And no, so that I can understand and I can go along better with because I wasn't understanding why you want to go straight into specific other situations when I'm telling you about a general situation and how it's a certain experience for and how I've seen it. So that's why I was trying to understand.
Let me clear it up then. Fine. So I'm speaking out of, okay, if you want me to go a bit more specific to what I'm talking about the patriarchy, right?
Mm.
I'm saying that the patriarchy is something whereby someone else, so females, right? Because the patriarchy is something that's against males, right? The patriarchy is something that is toxic, right?
You see, that's why in the beginning I tried to clear that up with you that I don't find patriarchy toxic. It's just that it's become a system that has given man power, and that power has been abused, like in any other system which you would have power. Power corrupts. Absolute power will always corrupt. So
Okay.
it's the system rather than saying that it's just man alone.
It's a system developed by who?
See, Tiffany,
Men develop the system.
man, woman. Do you think it's just man?
Okay, so then if there's a
We
patriarchy,
both have
the
privileges.
patriarchy.
Yes, and that's why I think it's not. You have to. That's why in the beginning I went on to say why I believe how it started. It started from a good place. Hunter gatherer,
Okay,
yeah, but
yeah.
like from a good place until power corrupted it.
And so power
You see?
corrupted it.
Yeah, its intentions were good. Both of us came to the party. We sat down. We understood what we were getting into. You can't say just man built the system. That's unfair.
Okay. So then how do we uncorrupt it? What are the solutions then?
Like I just said, we sit down with our privileges. We understand that we have our privileges, and we sacrifice. But accountability is for the human. No one wants to take
Accountability then,
accountability of their privilege.
no one
No
will
one
take
wants to
account.
take accountability. Yeah.
Okay, so we're just playing the blame game.
No, right now, women are feeling that, how I see it, right, is they're feeling that, you know what, now the power shift they have in the bed. But the problem is, as Unjita, Jaiva, and the power shift there, okay, you guys now, we're in the same level, but you still expect me to provide and do all that thing. And also, what advantages am I getting? You saying equality, but it's like the financial thing where I remember having a chat with a lady, Dina, 14, somewhere there, and she was like, she was talking to this guy, and she said, "I need a big day." She was like, "No, you daughter. into ekufuneka uyenze funeka ubhatale for le cherry yakho whatnot. And he's like, but siyasebenza for bayi-2. Not no, what's his is what's hers is hers, and what's yours is both of yours. That yeah, I can. See, that's when I was like, you don't understand that maybe a man had to provide at that time when patriarchy was still viable as a system. You're able to then, well, what was my even like you're comfortable with patriarchy and the man being the provider. Now you can't be the provider anymore. I think no, maybe you don't say, hey, get a helper. You live in a dual income home, take some money out, get a helper, we change it up.
Okay. So then what do you say then to women that say, well, I'm the one that bears kids, we can't even that out, so therefore you don't need to go and work and then I'll have the kids?
Who do you bear kids with?
Well, you don't bear the kids. Women don't have the kid. They don't go through the emotional change.
How do you conceive
Sorry?
the child?
What?
How do you
Man and woman have intercourse. Or in vitro.
Who?
Man and woman have intercourse or in vitro, or it's just happening.
Is this child yours alone?
Sorry?
Is this child yours alone?
No, it's not.
So then what gives you the right? Just because you gave birth and you were in pain. You were in own pain.
Oh man. Oh.
No. Just because of physical pain, we're gonna miss out everything else. Everything else that comes into making a child and then taking care of the child afterwards. We're gonna miss everything else because you were in pain. So yeah, laughing. John, like before we have a kid, you're gonna come to me and say, I want to have a kid. You're gonna understand the implications of having a kid. It means that you're gonna have morning sickness. You're gonna have back pains. You're gonna have all this shit. You're gonna look ugly. You're gonna want certain cravings that you might not be able to fulfill. You know this going in. You know this, and you still say you want a kid. Okay, I'm gonna play my part. You're gonna play your part. So you're happy that you were in vain. Life is not fair. I'm sorry, darling. I'm sorry. Life is not fair.
Okay. Whew, that was strong, boy, man. Okay. So you're saying so the woman bears a child, right? So the woman gets pregnant, they have the child, they go through the hormonal changes, and through all of that stuff, they need to take maternity leave, right? While they're taking maternity leave, they're not working. Some jobs pay them, some jobs don't. After that, they need to then have the child, or as in give birth to the child, take care of them, kangaroo mother care, and all sorts of stuff, breastfeed. And through all this time, they're kind of, losing in touch with work, kind of making money type of thing. And then after that, also spend time with the child and, for a few months, depending on what, the types of jobs and obviously the types of countries. Generally, it's about 2 to 3 months after that. And then they get back to work and it's like, they feel like they're new people. And again, obviously now you have someone to take care of, and you're really connected to the child or to the person that you gave birth to. Whereas for a man, we don't really have those emotional attachments, right? We don't have those emotional attachments that a woman has to the child, right? So we can.
I don't subscribe to that. Sorry, I don't subscribe to that. I'm very sensitive as a person. Please.
What?
I don't subscribe to that. I'm a sensitive person.
Okay.
I
But towards
believe if I was I believe if I was to have a kid, I'd be singing to the kid at night. Every night. Ndiva ekuswini ngicula bands. Filthy. I don't subscribe to that. That's all I'm saying.
okay.
Sensitive person.
So I guess then more women need men like you.
Filthy. They don't want men like me. I'm telling you.
Okay. Okay. So you don't want me to generalize?
No, ngena with generalization. Man.
Okay, because I mean you wanted it to make it specific, but okay. So I'm talking
Kind of,
about
if it's
hey?
like a certain experience, you can speak of a certain experience. And
Oh, okay.
maybe it's the vantage point. That's cool.
Okay, well, I mean, experiences that we know of, we know that in
Yeah,
general, guys just don't
yeah.
spend that much time with their kids as much as women do, right? Women have a generally a closer bond with the kids that men don't have, and you see it with our parents as well, especially with males. They have a more closer
Which is why
connection and
this
things like that.
system is like the way it is now. Yeah,
Which
I
way?
hear you. Which is why this system was built and designed the way it is now.
Okay. So now in the system that it is, right, as a as feminists would then say is that okay, well now a woman kind of loses the say if you were in a race, right, a man and a woman, and you're
Mhm.
trying to go for the same job, for example, and then a female falls pregnant, right? Then now they're more of a loss than what a male is in the system that we have, right?
Yeah.
So how do we get that back there? Or well, how do we get that back level then? What would you say to that?
How do you get that level?
Yeah. So again, like I say, if you're a man and a woman, so husband and wife, you both going for the same job. You both want to be a high-end lawyer, right?
You see, this is why I say it's the system that's the problem.
Yeah. So
Because because honestly, I can't say I blame it. But at some point, we need to understand and make sacrifices and understand we need to abolish capitalism in Mayoklal because that's where the other problem is now as well. But they need to make money as the company, and now they're gonna want a person that's gonna be there at the same time. But in order for us to abolish this feminist, I mean not this patriarchy system, we're gonna we're gonna need to abolish capitalism with it as
okay. So okay. So if you abolish capitalism, nah,
well.
then does that mean that then when the woman comes back from having a child, they'll be on the same par again as a man? Well, with a man, sorry.
We need to understand that this is the life that we have been given. It's not fair. That's what happened. So yes, at some point we need to understand that but you might want to bear children as well. Or the majority of people in this world want to have kids. So let's make it a viable system that's gonna benefit the majority.
Which is what the female.
No, the
Who?
majority of people. It's not just gonna benefit the women. It's gonna benefit the men as well because you're gonna want to have kids. And now when your wife is having kids and she's still gonna have the same opportunity that you will have, and or not or yeah, the same opportunity that you would have or someone else would have when she's rivaling against them for that position.
So then if you don't, so if you then create a system whereby if you look after the majority, right? And if you're saying
Mhm.
that the majority wants kids, right? What if then the majority says, okay, well then I don't want kids anymore? Then you're going to change that system again? And then isn't that system then unfair to people that don't want kids or can't have kids?
It will never be fair. Life is not fair. I've been saying this to you. It's either
Okay.
you understand that life is not fair and you try minimalize it in your own social settings and understand that the system is designed a certain way
Okay.
and see it for actually what it is and how it is designed.
Okay.
That's the only way you'll actually find happiness in a way. Happiness.
Okay. So then what I'm getting is that you're saying that, look, if you're trying to fight for fairness, don't try to do it. Try to
Yeah,
see what you
because
can
it's
gain.
not sustainable. It's not sustainable.
Fairness.
Yeah, it's not sustainable
Okay.
because you're only going to always be looking out for majority, and
Yeah.
then you're going to be unfair to a certain few,
Okay.
and somehow that number is going to rise at some point.
hmm And then they're going to become the majority, and then you have to switch up again.
Exactly.
Okay. So then, when you are part of the minority, what? Just don't complain and let things happen.
When you're part of the minority, you're going to have to complain and try and move it. You always have to try fight it. They understand that life is not fair and no one gives a shit.
Okay.
Because
So
in reality, no one wants to sacrifice.
okay. All right. So then again, we're coming back to the patriarchy. Then it's
Mhm.
like again when you were asking me about the matriarchy and what is it? Be again like if you look at certain jobs, right,
Mhm.
where women are um, more dominant in those jobs, right? And then you look at other jobs where men are more dominant in those jobs. That's kind of the patriarchy in the male dominated place, and it's the matriarchy in the female dominated place. So is
Okay.
that the unfairness that you're talking about? That just life is just like that?
Yeah, but even that one that spectrum is a bit, it's tiny. The woman one, you'll have many male dominated fields, and maybe you'll have 3 or 4 woman dominated fields. You're not gonna
Some
find
okay, let's say okay. I don't even know if that's true or not, but regardless of whether it's true or not, does it matter the amount of people or the amount of dominance there is, or actually maybe it's like if
there
you
is
are
one.
hey
That there is one.
yeah, and the fact that even in one dominance can hold a lot of power or uh, um, a lot of weight than three other dominances. The fact that there are dominances is kind of the question.
Yeah, that's possible, right? But now
Yeah.
other people will want other opportunities.
What do
Maybe
you mean?
this one dominant one that is so big and global, it's not maybe what some people fancy. Other people want to do something else.
Okay, but
They want different streams. There are
okay,
different opportunities. Whereas maybe if you have on the other side, on the men's side, the more dominant sort of thing. So as a man, I have more opportunity to pick from.
okay,
There
but
are
then
more
what are you
things
likely to
open
pick from
for
as a
me
man?
to
That's what I'm trying to,
okay?
that's what I'm getting at as well. It's like what are you more likely to pick from as a man? Like a man is not more likely to pick to be a nurse more than what a woman is. So even if you have a choice between being a
Okay.
nurse,
Okay. How many men grow up wanting to be sportsmen as to women?
how many what?
Women grow up wanting to be sportsmen as to men.
Well, it depends. So different sports, different women want to be in different sports. So different sports women want to be in different sports compared to different, compared to men wanting to be in different sports too. So that's a bit
Okay.
different. But what I'm talking about is more of like,
And now look, and now when we go into sports, look at how many big sports have like let's look at the NBA, right? Look
yeah,
at the WNBA.
yeah,
It's there, and how they make money. They don't make as much revenue as the NBA because
hmm
it was going to be recognized later. most women's sports were not recognized in time. So they still building their way up, whilst other ones are big conglomerates, and the opportunity ones the same. You understand? So all I'm saying is that we are not afforded the same opportunities as men and women.
Okay.
And we need to be able to be aware of our privilege that as men, they might have maybe they have that, like you said, they want to be nurses and things like that. But men have way more opportunities. There are more things that more sports like that, like race car driving. How many women race car drivers are there?
Okay.
How many do
So,
motorbikes and all those ones?
okay.
And
So again,
yeah.
yeah. So I understand what you're saying, right? And when you start to pick jobs like that, and you're starting to pick certain things like that, it goes back to what we were first saying in the sense that one person, right? So again, if you're looking at a woman can be a lot of different people in the sense that a woman can be black, can be like you said, white, can be Asian, can be all sorts of things, right? Could be disabled, could be rich, could be poor, could be middle class, could be all sorts of stuff, right? And all of those little differences in one woman can determine a lot of things, can determine a lot of privileges, can determine no privileges at all, right? So now it's like, even if you're a race car driver, you might not have a lot of privilege as a black woman or Muslim woman, right? But then you might have a bit more privilege if you're a white woman or a different type of woman. Do you understand? So a woman maybe that's brought up playing sport in the sporting community has a bit more privilege to make it in that particular sport than a woman that doesn't.
It varies.
Yeah, right? So then before you even compare it to a man or to something else, it's like as one person, you have a lot of other privileges as a person compared to someone else. Right? So now when you then want to pick it to be between male and female, it's like it's not that black and white. It's not that there is a patriarchy and there's a matriarchy. It's just the fact that one person can be literally split into so many things and can be split into so many things that then which privilege of that person are you talking about? I can be a guy, you can be a guy, you can be better at rugby than I am, right? And then if you're going to compare women to guys, it's like, well, there's certain guys that are not great at rugby, I might not be. There's certain girls that are better at rugby that I might not, and that might not be like me. But then I'm better at a certain sport than some of the other women. And then you're also then not privileged as I am in that sport. So then again, it's like you can break us up into so many little pieces that then it's like, which privilege of mine are you talking about and which privilege of yours are you talking about? So when you give it a blank term to say a patriarchy and a matriarchy and we're only looking at gender, it's almost like, well, then are we neglecting everything else that makes a difference in this person?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why then you end up within yourself, because then you have your own little interests afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like you'll find black women and white women together in fighting against patriarchy. But afterwards, you'll realize we have different underlying interests afterwards. Different communities. And that's because, like you said, the world's not black and white. But you have to look at it in a vacuum and understand what the goal was at the time, and then understand at some point you're going to need to cut ties and that there's no long-term vision with it.
Okay. So then do terms such as white privilege and patriarchy and matriarchy actually then exist?
Yes.
So they exist.
Because it's all because you're able to look at it in a vacuum. Because certain systems, they just build on top of each other. They all build up on top of each other. It's like when you also brought in capitalism, you're gonna have to get that as well. It's just because everything is on top of each other. It's all mixed up together. But at some point, you need to identify that patriarchy is its own entity in its own that is now an infectious disease.
Okay. So do gay men suffer from the patriarchy? Or
No,
do they benefit from
they
it, or
both.
do they not benefit from it?
They both. No one just benefits from patriarchy. That's what I was trying to tell you earlier. No one
Okay.
just benefits from patriarchy. We all have our advantages, and we all have our privileges. And we need to understand at some point we're gonna need to sacrifice in
And the
order
sac
for us
and the
in order for
sacrifice
us
to sit together.
in order for us to be able to live comfortably. It's You're gonna have to do it in your own community, because the system, trying to do the whole system thing, is it's long.
Okay. Yeah. I think I get you. I think we're speaking of, on the same thing, different angles, but
Yeah.
kind of agreeing and disagreeing at the same time. It's just a different way to look at it. Man, you killed me with that comment in the middle there, man. That chivalry comment killed me. But okay. All right. So basically, it comes back down to what you're doing around yourself before you go and try to fix everything else.
We can't fix everything else. It's too intricate.
Mm.
We can try at times fight certain systems at one by one, and that's all we can do. And that's gonna be a slow, long process. But we also need to ensure that we're enforcing it within ourselves, in our daily lifestyles. In your relationship, understand what type of relationship you want, so that it's always in your mind and you're passing it down to the next generation. And then they seeing better and they want to do better. If everyone's able to always think consciously of what they're doing and how it's gonna affect everyone else around them, it will trickle down. It will take forever. It's gonna take forever. But at this rate, everything is fucked up and everyone's looking out for themselves. So the best thing you can do, take it close to your people and then move on. Asinong pagkakala mo? Snokal. Ndotay kal. Kala pekale.
Well, okay.
But like I was saying, though, I don't think it just benefits one person. That's why I don't understand the matriarchy chat. Like, no, patriarchy has given you those provisions to then outgrow in this thing, so that you can keep quiet and just be hush hush over here. And everyone, like, it's never all bad. And that's my life philosophy. Nothing is all bad. Nothing is all good. You have to just take it as it comes.
Yeah, that reminds me of a quote from Jigsaw from the Saw movies, where he says, um, "In life, you get given bad cards, and sometimes you get given good cards, and or you get given." He says, actually, there's sometimes you get given bad people, sometimes you get given good people, and sometimes those good people do bad, and sometimes those bad people do good.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes those bad people receive good, and some of the good people receive bad. So life doesn't always give you what you need to have, or think that you need to have. You just play the cards that you're dealt.
And just always remember, life is not fair.
Ooh.
Don't try to make it fair. You'll never find equality. For me, equality is the joke. Just try to
That's
be happy.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, yeah, that's powerful, boy. All right. Nah, man, I think, yeah. Any closing statements? Quality's a
Closing
joke.
statement is that we need to sacrifice our privileges as people. We need to understand that as a man, I have my privileges that I'm getting from patriarchy. As a woman, you need to see your privileges and acknowledge them. And once you acknowledge your privileges, I'll be able to let go of more of my privileges. if I don't see you letting go, I'm going to hold on to certain things, and I won't want to let go of certain privileges that I'm gaining from the system. And that's simple as.
Alright, goat. Cool, man. I'll talk to you now.
Sure,
Cheers, bro.